the Worcester Bosch 1519 Heatslave oil boiler. Basically, the problem we had was that the central heating would get cooled. Hot water wouldn't. This is like hot water priority, so the heating's on, the hot water's cooled, it switches to hot water rather than heated. But with just the hot water on, we found that the radiators got really hot, and then what would happen is the radiators would then go lukewarm and back to hot again. So something wasn't right. Can be a few things: circulation, the pump, the diverter valve, blockages. So there's a few things to look at. So let's have a look at the boiler, and I'll give you a bit more of some like indication as to what went wrong with this one anyway. Right, so covers off. Let's have a look, see what we've got. So this is the plate heat exchanger that does the hot water. So we've got the hot water coming out. Got this pipe that's feeding the hot water from the boiler, the system, through the heat exchanger. And then we've got the flow switch there. So that's the cold water in this flow switch. A couple of other things that are worth pointing out. Bleed valves. This one here for the hot water. This one here, top of the boiler. This one here for the hot water, heating of the hot water. One thing to bear in mind, the three-way valve down there, what you want to do is move it to the left where it hooks in, so it's between heating and central heating. Put the boiler on the hot water setting, so just make it cool for hot water, and that way the air bubbles or any air in the system will rise from the heat store and also from the system, and then you can just bleed the air out from here. So going back to the problem that I had, going down here we've got the pressure gauge. So when the boiler kicks in hot water or heating, the needle will, or should go up, but this one goes down. And I think this is because of where the pressure sensor is located in relation to the pump. Pump set number 3, the pump works. You can take this off and have a look and see the pump rotating. Inside we've got the three-way diverter valve. Three-way diverter valves are ball valves. There's a rubber ball inside there, and by default it's the hot water that's on, so it only moves if the central heating's triggered. So here we've got the main body of the system with the water that comes through the main heat exchanger of the boiler. So my symptoms were central heating on. When you touch these pipes either side of the pump, they're either cold or lukewarm, so there's no circulation. So you start thinking, blockage. Not the diverter valve. It's not no water is coming through the pump, past the pump. So straight away you think, this is not right. So the other symptom I had was at the back of the boiler we've got these pipes. So touching the central heating flow pipe with the central heating on, again, because there's no flow, this was lukewarm. This pipe for the heating of the water was red hot. This heat exchanger, plate exchanger for the hot water, was red hot. Hot water seemed to be coming back here, coming through here, and eventually also coming through here from the hot store. So it looked like no circulation, hot water naturally being pushed through this heat store. So tried numerous things. It's worth checking the pump valves are in the correct position, but these haven't been moved for ages. I did actually change a pump and a diverter valve in the early stages, but obviously didn't fix it. This, the pressure vessel, made me a little bit suspicious about that. We had a little bit of a power cut. So where were we? Yeah, so changed the pump, changed the diverter valve, didn't change anything. Then I started thinking about this pressure vessel, reading up from what people have said on forums, and this is why I'm doing the video really, because it's going to save someone some time trawling forums. So this pipe is the expansion pipe from the boiler. You can see it going in over there. These specifically for some reason become blocked on these square expansion vessels, more common apparently. So drain the system, and you basically, that's the valve at the top that's used for pumping air into this. They come by default with nitrogen, and I think it's at 1 bar, but over time obviously air can dissipate. But what I did, I didn't really look into it too much, but when I first looked at this, I didn't decompressurize the system. So the system was at 1 bar and I was trying to pump this thing up, which you need to make the system at 0. Check this, when you take this off, I'm not going to do it because I've still got to change this one. But when you press the Schrader valve in, if water comes out, this is knackered. It means that the water's breached the balloon, as it were. 'Cause this is just like a football in there of air that allows the boiler pressure to go into here. So when these go, pressing the valve, water should come out. But on this one, it didn't. Also, what you'll get when the what you'll also get, if this has failed, there's no room for expansion. When the water gets hot, so everything's expanding, and what typically happens is your system pressure will rocket up to towards 3 bar. Now at 3 bar, these boilers are fitted with a pressure release valve, which, as you can see, comes out here. But if you trace the pipework back, it's this here. I won't do this, but if you twist it, it activates, and you can release some of that pressure. But these, apparently, if you do that, they've got a nasty habit of not seating properly afterwards. You can snap them back, but just be aware that this may leak continuously the water out of the system. So it's not the recommended method of releasing the pressure of the boiler. I think the best way is to do it via radiator. Anyway, so that's the typical behaviour. Too much pressure in the boiler, this valve activating over 3 bar, water coming out outside from the pipe. You can put a bag on the pipe to see if it has been doing that behaviour, because it shouldn't do. So going back to this, so my problem, what I decided to do is I drained everything, drained the system. Once the system was completely drained, including the heat store, I undid this carefully. No pressure in here after checking this valve. Well, it went psst, and that was it. So it's obviously no pressure. Disconnected the pipe, pulled the pipe off, blew it, and I think it cleared a small blockage. This system's fairly clean, but it wasn't when we first moved in. So blowing the pipe cleaned what blockage I thought there was. So then I decided to take this out. This is quite easy to take out. You just take this off and pull it out. So I pulled it out, and doing that, I'd say it was 3/4 full of water, dirty water. So I emptied it as much as I could, which was difficult, and then I attempted to blow it up at the valve. Now blowing it up at the valve, basically air just coming straight out here, which is wrong. So yeah, I've ordered a new expansion vessel. At the time of making this video, I bought it from Plumarina, £89. That's quite a good price. It's quite hard to find anyone else doing them at a cheaper price, but this one I think is probably about 12 years old. But yeah, so what I'm going to do probably is once the new one arrives, drain the system again, make sure there's no pressure in it, which there won't be. Take the pipe off, remove this one. The new one comes with nitrogen and it should be 1 bar, but I checked with a pressure gauge. Pop that back in, reconnect the pipe with a new fibre washer, bring the boiler back up to pressure, do all the bleeding techniques that I told you about earlier, getting the freeway valve in that mid position, lock position for central heating and water, running it on water heating, and then just bleeding from this one mainly, but I'll also be doing that one at the back and that one there. You're not touching the burner at all, so you know, when I do things on here, I typically turn the boiler off, but I'm not really, I'm just draining down and doing the simple stuff, not the touching the burner and things like that. So yeah, I mean, that's what has been going on with this one. That's the cap for the valve. But yeah, I couldn't read anywhere who people had similar problem. It typically is over pressurizing the boiler, and then this I've forgotten what the thing's called, the pressure valve going off. So PRV, that's the one. So yeah, that's where we are on this. So hopefully I'll get my new pressure vessel today, fit it, and that'll be fine. It'll all be working again. Interestingly enough, when I did empty this old one with water, put it all back together and connected it, there was a slight weep coming out of the pump valve, which to me indicated the flow was back again and the pressure. The boiler just seemed to work a lot better until this thing started obviously filling up with water again. But yeah, totally different behaviour from water being forced out under pressure and this pressure gauge going up. It just wasn't behaving like that at all. So yeah, you get slightly different behaviour on these Heatslave boilers. So yeah, I hope it does help someone, because you could end up spending a lot of time replacing parts that don't need to be replaced. The first thing I would check is this pressure on this with a tyre pressure gauge. It's got to be 1 bar. Checking it with the system pressure at 0. If it needs pumping up, pump it up slightly, and then just bringing the whole thing back at the system, back up to pressure, and you're bleeding. So yeah, that's about it really. Hope it helps, and don't forget to rate, subscribe, give some feedback, thumbs up would be cool. Okay, catch you later, bye.
Mummy, he's stuck in the roof. Side flip and back flip. He wouldn't want to see it. He's staring his pants now. It's really funny. Hello, funny man. Can you see how funny it is? It is so hilarious. Look. It's like Spider-Man doing back flips and front flips. See? He's unstickable. See? He does 4-leg crouch. See?